Elon Musk has a plan to put 1 million people on Mars. But what if someone had dropped him, that exact brain, that exact level of obsession, into a world with no electricity, no metal, no writing, and no concept of money? Not a dumbed-down version of him, just 12,000 years earlier. What actually happens? Before we get into it, I need to kill one assumption you probably already have. You're probably imagining Elon Musk stumbling around in a loincloth, confused and helpless, immediately getting eaten by something large and annoyed. And look, that's funny, but it's probably wrong. Because here's what most people don't realize about ancient humans. The people living in 10,000 BC weren't primitive in any meaningful cognitive sense. Their brains were identical to yours. Same hardware, same processing power, same capacity for language, creativity, abstract thinking, and long-term planning. What they didn't have was 12,000 years of accumulated knowledge sitting in their pocket. So the real question isn't whether Elon Musk is smart enough to survive. The question is, which parts of what makes him Elon Musk actually transfer, and which parts are completely useless without a civilization to plug them into? Let's find out, because the answer is genuinely surprising, and it says something uncomfortable about what genius actually is. The year is 10,000 BC. We're right at the very edge of the Neolithic period, the moment just before everything changes. Agriculture is barely a rumor. A few groups in the Middle East are starting to notice that plants grow from seeds, but most humans still have no idea this is about to become the foundation of civilization. Right now, everyone is moving. Small bands of 20 to 50 people constantly migrating across enormous landscapes, chasing animals and seasonal plants. No cities, no governments, no currencies, no factories, no pitch decks, no one to tweet at. Elon Musk is born into one of these bands, somewhere on the Eurasian steppe, son of 2 hunter-gatherers. His entire technological inheritance is sharpened rocks, bone needles, animal skins, and fire. He does not have a trust fund. He does not have PayPal money. He has a sharp stick and whatever his brain came with. Now, let's talk about what that brain actually contains, because this is where it gets interesting. Musk has a very specific cognitive profile, and some of it is genuinely extraordinary in any era, but some of it, in this particular world, is a liability so dangerous it could get him killed. Let's start with what works. Extreme risk tolerance, obsessive iteration, pattern recognition across unrelated fields, the ability to look at a broken system and immediately start redesigning it from scratch. In the ancient world, these traits don't disappear. They just get pointed at different problems. Spear technology evolved over tens of thousands of years, but it evolved because specific individuals kept asking why this design and not that one. Musk would be that person, modifying weights, testing throwing angles, running the same experiment 12 times until it works, while everyone around him is exhausted and slightly concerned about his mental state, which, again, familiar. His first principles thinking, the thing he talks about constantly in interviews, breaking a problem down to its fundamental components and rebuilding from scratch, that's actually ancient. That's the cognitive process that turned a sharp rock into a spear point. Musk just does it faster and with more press coverage. And here's a genuinely surprising fact. Anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherer societies have found that every group tends to have 1 or 2 individuals they call high sensation seekers. People who are more curious, more experimental, more willing to try something new and tolerate the uncertainty of not knowing if it'll work. These people were genuinely valuable. New migration routes, new tool designs, new ways of preserving food. These came from them, not from the group average. Ancient Musk probably becomes that person within about 6 months. So far, so good. But here's the part where things get complicated, because ancient human society had a feature that modern Silicon Valley does not. It's called not being able to fire the people who disagree with you. One of Musk's most documented characteristics is his relationship with social dynamics. The man is brilliant. He is also, by nearly every account, genuinely difficult to be around for extended periods of time. Intense, unpredictable, occasionally oblivious to how he's landing on the people around him. In the modern world, this is manageable. He has money, he has fame, he has PR teams, and enough distance from normal human interaction that his social friction rarely becomes an existential problem. In a band of 40 hunter-gatherers, there is no buffer. Your survival literally depends on whether 39 other people trust you enough to share food with you during a bad winter. Reputation isn't just social currency, it's actual currency. The only currency that exists. And here's the thing that most people in this scenario miss completely. Ancient human groups had a specific social mechanism for dealing with individuals who became too dominant, too disruptive, or too focused on their own agenda at the expense of the group. Anthropologists call it a leveling mechanism, behaviors specifically designed to prevent any one individual from accumulating too much power or status. Teasing, social exclusion, undermining, and in extreme cases, in documented instances across multiple hunter-gatherer cultures across the world, removal from the group entirely, which, in a world full of predators and no supermarkets, is essentially a death sentence. So ancient Musk faces a problem he has never really had to solve before. How do you stay innovative and ambitious in a flat social structure that actively punishes those exact qualities the moment they start looking like dominance? This is genuinely the pivotal question, and the answer is what separates the ancient geniuses who changed their world from the ones nobody ever heard of. Because here's what I think actually happens, and this is the part that changes how you think about Musk, about genius, and honestly, about yourself. Strip away the money, the companies, the platform. What is Elon Musk actually best at? It's not engineering. He has engineers for that. It's not manufacturing. He has factories for that. What Musk is genuinely world-class at is convincing people that a future is possible before there's any real evidence that it is. Think about Tesla in 2008. The company was weeks from bankruptcy. The Roadster barely worked. Every serious automotive analyst on Earth said electric cars were a dead end. And Musk stood in front of investors, employees, journalists, and made them believe. Not with data, with vision, with the specific kind of certainty that makes other humans reorganize their behavior around your idea. That skill is ancient. Civilizations didn't begin because one genius invented agriculture overnight. They began because specific individuals convinced exhausted, skeptical groups of people to change behavior that had worked for thousands of years. To stay in one place instead of moving. To plant seeds and wait months for a payoff instead of hunting today. To store food instead of eating it now. That is, at its core, exactly what Musk does. So here's what I think ancient Musk actually becomes. Not an inventor, a founder. The person in the group who sees the possibility of a settled life before anyone else. Who pushes the band to camp near the wild grain fields for one more season. Who convinces 3 people to try deliberately planting seeds, and then 5 people, and then the whole group. He doesn't invent agriculture single-handedly, but he might accelerate it in his corner of the world by decades, maybe centuries. He wouldn't build a rocket, but he might build the first granary. And in 10,000 BC, a granary was the SpaceX of its time. Remember that sharp stick from earlier? Yeah, he definitely redesigned it. Here's what this thought experiment actually reveals. Genius is real. Certain cognitive profiles genuinely are extraordinary across contexts. The risk tolerance, the obsessive iteration, the ability to hold a vision that other people can't see yet. But genius is also always leveraged by its era. Musk's specific impact, the scale of it, the speed of it, is inseparable from the infrastructure he was born into. The accumulated science, the capital markets, the communication technology, the global supply chains. Drop him into 10,000 BC and he probably still rises. He probably still changes things. He's just working with a 12,000-year head start removed, which raises the question I actually want you to think about. How many Elon Musks lived and died in the ancient world with that same brain, that same drive, that same vision, but without a civilization to plug into? How many of the most extraordinary minds in human history never got the infrastructure they needed? And what does that tell us about the people alive right now who never will? Leave your answer in the comments. Genuinely, I read everything. If this got your brain going, there's more where that came from. I drop a new video every week diving into the weird, counterintuitive science of why humans are the way we are. The next one is going to completely change how you think about something you do every single day. Everything's in the description. See you there.